Let me into my zone. Please don't let me into my zone. 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 Please don't let me.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Clickbait Cave, and today actually we have the one chart to rule them all for the clickbait title. Of course, it's all just bullshit at the end of the day. We're traders here, and we don't give a fuck about moon or doom. We care about trading. Anyways, well, at least that's who the channel is focused on. So everyone's welcome here. All races, all creeds, all fucking philosophies, as long as you agree with me. No, just kidding again. Anyways, today I want to say, first and foremost, not going to be doing a Twitch live stream a little bit later today. I will not be doing one today. Need to set up a few things, grab a few more supplies for the new computer coming, which is going to upgrade all of the capacities of everything that you see on screen here by 10 billion fold. And I'm just going to make sure that very early on this one that I'm actually recording. Okay, I am recording and the microphone's working, so that's really good. Anyways, off to a good start today. And I would like to say that yesterday's Twitch stream was absolutely perfect, man. Really indicative of exactly what I want it to be, with kind of, you know, focusing on the gaming and then kind of in between as opportunities arise, taking those live trades. And that was really fun. It was really reminiscent of what it was like to be on the floor of a major exchange, where it's just like, you know, kind of in between waiting for trades. You're just kind of hanging out, chatting around, playing some games, fucking around. And then when it's time to get down to business, you get down to business. And it was really cool. And I want to thank everyone who came out and joined on in, man. It was really fun. So the link is in the description for that at Twitch at like Krown Crypto, what the fuck it is. and yeah, man, feel free to join on in. Also, the Krown trading app going to be coming out Friday. We're aiming for Friday at least. It's going to be 100% free for the base functionality, but when we first bring it out, it's only going to have the main screen, and with each and every passing week, we're going to be adding more and more screens on top of that until maybe about like end of February, it'll be 100% complete. So that's really fucking exciting for me as well. That also means that all of the indicators are back. That means the Jewel is back, and link is in the description of this video. As always, with any of those indicators, I want to say that, hey, if you aren't already profitable, they ain't the fucking magic pill. You saw the other day, there was actually a signal given on the Jewel, an unconfirmed signal, to be fair. But, you know, if people blindly took that, it would have been terrible. And that is why it's very important to not only just have the indicator analysis, you know, in the back of your mind's eye when using something like that, but also your risk management, your position management, and, well, everything else that encompasses a good trade. So, and also, by the way, for the people who do have access to the Jewel or actually any of the proprietary indicators, definitely go check out the new videos that we've uploaded on crowntrading.net. They will be uploaded to the other venue at some point in time, probably later this weekend, there's a really good explanation, a very in-depth explanation from the creator himself, as you know, on those more unique situations, of which we saw one about a day ago, or sorry, 2 days ago it was now. Anyways, I want to follow up on all the Bitcoin analysis now because, well, we've hit some targets to the upside, we've backed off. Is it time to get bull tardish right now, or is it time to be a little bit more subdued? And with all that said, I'd like to wish you the best and the happiest of the happiest. Holy shit, man, we're running this baby. We're running this morning. God damn. 3 cups of coffee today. Anyways, I'm pressing that button. I'll see you in the live stream. Oh, and what's this? A new stinger transition. Holy shit. And here's the one chart to rule them all, what the clickbait is all about right now. And that is the crypto total market cap, which, you know, I've struggled with this one in the past because I do think that the total market cap is more of a loose metric to be watching than just straight up Bitcoin price action, but it has gotten the last few major areas really well. So I do want to kind of focus on that for a second here. And as you can see, we popped all the way up on this massive girthy green dildo to test the 200 moving average right here, and thus far found a high as it is right here, right now. So I actually do think that we're headed that we're set up for a pullback. I mean, we spoke about this last night on the live stream, and yesterday, I believe, during the video, during the uploaded video, that 8850 was kind of like a pullback region, and that has been essentially met. But I just want to show here on the total market cap that we actually have hit a major macro area. So to me, this is the next sort of, what do we want to say, pivot point on the general market. And I would say that any sort of a daily total close above, let's call it about 238 billion with a B, looks pretty damn good for an actual takeout and change of macro behavior here from the total market cap perspective. So that includes every last little shitcoin in this market plus Bitcoin. And I'm going to put an alert right here. There's 2 ways to do this. I'd wait for a close, either, preferably, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, whatever. I'll not do that then. But there's two ways to do this. So first and foremost, the best way would be to wait for an open and close above the 200 simple, although a close above that 238 billion mark would probably be good enough, or even just taking out the high that we have currently, which is 242.5 billion. All those would be, more or less good ways of judging that next sort of change in macro behavior. For right now, I want to show the validity of this. That's essentially over the past couple of years, especially that the 200 simple has been a damn good indication of where we are in the general macro. You do see that when we broke back above when we broke out of the bear market cycle in March of 2019, that was marked by the retake of the 200 simple moving average right here. Again, the white moving average is what I'm pointing towards. And then, as you can see, once we lost it over here, bad. We got rejected by it a couple times over here, bad. And now so far we're getting rejected by it, but a little bit too early to really call it either which way. So that's what's going on in the macro as far as the general, as far as the general trajectory of this asset or of the total market cap in general. We do see the 200 simple on the weekly also having great significance as well, calling our last couple lows. And we did test out that on the move down around 6,500 about a month ago. Or sorry, maybe it was like a month and a half ago now. Feels like so long ago. Anyways, let's go down into Bitcoin and look at the lower time frames, because this is where all the action's happening right now. As well, actually, all time frames are having all sorts of things happen. So this is what we were looking at yesterday and last night during those streams. This blue box territory, our likely destination and our likely pullback area, and that's what we're seeing right now. And I don't say these things to sound arrogant. I don't say these things to say I called it. I knew what the fuck was going to happen, and I'm great, because it doesn't fucking matter, man. What matters is the trading, especially for myself. My main source of income is still trading, and not necessarily just being like a fucking, I don't know, like a what do you call those people? Well, I guess you call them like crystal ball people, but like the callers. No, I need a better word for it than that. The callers. That doesn't sound good enough. Anyways, for right now, I would say that on Bitcoin spot price action, as long as we're closing at the very least 4-hour dildos below our last prior high on a dildo closing base, which is about 88.30ish region, no real threat of making our next way into the next blue box territory up here, which is between about 9,100 and 9,200. Also is going to be around where the daily 200 moving average is coming in, which is currently down quite nastily right here as well. So there is a lot of things to be aware of here. While Bitcoin is finding a local top in the lower time frames, the real question is right now, are we going to find a medium-term high? And I actually do think that we are going to find a medium-term high. I think that the party's over for a little bit of time here. No, I mean, a little bit of time is subjective, right? But right here, I would say that regardless of my opinion is bullshit. Remember, my opinion is wrong all the fucking time. Regardless of my opinion, the pivots are what I like to work off, and that's what I trade. I don't trade my fucking opinion. And if we do get any sort of a break below if we do get any sort of like a 4-hour dildo closing below, especially 8,400, I do believe that this is going to come all the way down to about 8,200. That's not that helpful, though. We're kind of in no man's land here, which is what makes this difficult. But I would say that all momentum oscillators on these lower time frames are going to be pointed down. We do have bearish divergence on the 4-hour very much present, or actually, do we? 80 spot 2, 80 spot 3. Wow, pretty much. I mean, when it's that close, I think it's appropriate to say that we do have bearish divergence there. 3 hours certainly going to have it as well. In fact, 3 strikes of it, and that means that the 2-hour and the 1-hour lead is going to have it as well. So I'd imagine that the 6-hour does not, since it was so. Oh, actually, we do have it on the 6-hour. Actually, massive bearish divergence on the 6-hour. So this would suggest that we actually do come back down and test around 83.50 to 84.50ish region. And I would be looking for, at the very least, a low time frame bounce at around in that $100 pocket between 83.50 and 84.50ish region. But the next big thing, the next big thing I'm about to say is where things actually start to really take on a different meaning. So I would still be medium term bullish here, meaning that I actually expect that bounce from the 83.50 to 84.50ish region to bring us back and kind of trade a little bit of sideways and give another try to the upside, as long as, and that will be my disposition, as long as we are closing, especially 12-hour, or well, we could probably use 4 hours here, as long as we're closing 4-hour dildos, especially above about 8,200, and 12 hours above 8,300, and about 8,300, and dailies the same area as well. And of course, higher time frame is going to be better, but I know that everyone wants to look at the 4 hours. So for right now, if you are bullish, what you actually want to see see pretty much continuation within these next within this next about 48 hours worth of trading period. It's not a huge deal that we're getting rejected right here on the lower term timeframes. That's to be expected. But what happens over this next 2 days is going to be pretty damn important for deciding if we're just, playing out another bear market rally, or if we're actually quite literally ready to perhaps flip around the macro, which again, the macro doesn't really change until, at least in my opinion, doesn't really change until we get until we confirm a reversal on the weekly, which, I know I probably sound like a broken record here, but it is very important to me. 9,500 would be our last prior high. So as long as we're operating below 9,500 on a weekly closing basis, it is still lower highs on a weekly, and you need both a higher low and a higher high in order to reverse the trend here. So for right now, things do look good, and actually would say that the weekly is setting up certainly here in any sort of a close, on a weekly schedule above 8,400 is going to look really fucking good for continuation coming into the next couple weeks. But for right now, we're a little bit still in limbo, and I would like to be on the record as saying, as I have been for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, that if Bitcoin is going to reverse, I actually do think that it comes from this rally attempt, meaning that we probably don't close another daily low below 8,200, or sorry, what was it, 8,300. If 8,300 does get closed below on a daily closing basis, especially in maybe like 82.50 on a 4 hour, although not as good, then we probably have something new going, or sorry, we probably just have the former going on where we found yet again another lower high on the macro. So that's the big thing of what's going on right now. And if that were to happen, I'd probably be looking for a move back down to the low $7,000 region, and then we'll kind of discuss that as it comes. And that's not, neither of these moves is happening anytime soon. So I don't really see any major rush to be had at this current moment in time. Let me just make sure that this screen is working well. Okay, it is. Great, awesome, good, fucking phenomenal. But yeah, higher time frames actually looking okay here. We do see that weekly RSI has for the first time taken out the exponential here since our break from essentially June, July, which was when Bitcoin was deep into the 5 digits. Well, not necessarily deep, too deep, but about 12,000, 13,000-ish region right here. So a little bit of a change of behavior there. I do think that is a big deal, and we also have rejected the bearish control zone, which we probably do come back down and test around the median of the neutral zone. But for now, it looks, it's likely going to be constructive. Weekly stochastics having a change of behavior here as well. We are getting back above the same area that produced our failed rally attempt in late of October right here on that move to about 10.5 that quickly just bled out. So there are some extra things here that are certainly very rosy, and we also do see that we've essentially rallied off the same trend line that's held in the lows ever since actually February of 2019. So almost a full year ago, calling this low right here, right around about 3,400, calling this low right here before that $3,000 rally from about like 7,000 to 10.5, and then this next one right here, all following that same trend line. So I do like that. And I do think that there is a legitimate possibility that we actually flip around the macro cycle here to bullish once again. But I will not be macro bullish until we get that weekly closing above 9,500. That still means though, we could be bullish in the lower time frames, the short and the medium time frames, of which we have been for the last couple of weeks really. And that's to be divorced from the long term macro analysis essentially. Anyways, going back down into the lower term time frames, we didn't look at momentum oscillators. We see 4-hour Stokes curling down. We see 3-hour Stokes curling down as well. 2-hour Stokes coming down from the same area, and hourly Stokes way down there. So maybe another retest back up, like very, 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 very low time frames. Maybe another retest back up to like 87, maybe 87.50. But I do think that Bitcoin is going to come back down and test probably around 84.50. That's of course at the next sort of medium term. Or actually, let's get rid of this. No. Let's go to this chart right here. That's okay, perfect. I already have it in there. Great. That's going to be at the next like medium term critical area, I'd say. So as long as this blue box holds right here, I think fine. I think Bitcoin can come back down, reaccumulate in this region, and then get another try higher, maybe later this week, or I guess we are kind of already late in the week, but maybe like early next week, something like that. In any sort of a weekly close above 8,400 looks pretty fucking good to me overall. Although I would like, we'll have to see that in real time. So yeah, hourly probably says that we bounce up a little bit here, maybe test again around 87, 87.50, something like that. And then I'll probably be looking for things to come back down around here. I'm not trading this right now. Had plenty of trades last night, which was really, really fun, again on Twitch. So I'm just sitting back and watching as the fun moves were had, the easy moves were had. And we had a really good discussion last night on Twitch about, what real trading is like. And a lot of people were asking like, what do you do now? What do you do now? And it's like, right now, I'm just kind of sitting back and enjoying, we got the easy trades. Time to just sit back and enjoy it, man. So yeah, the lower time frames essentially suggesting something like that. And the key critical point is going to be to see how we react upon this level right here. If this level does break, even on a 4 hour, although like I said, a 4 hour is really not like, you really want to see it on like a 12-hour daily. Then I would look for another retest all the way back down to about 81.50, probably another bounce right there. But the bounce probably gets stopped out somewhere right around 8,400, and we'll head lower, probably back below 8,000. So this is going to be really, really critical next like half week of price action here to dictate the macro as a good setup, and just sideways within this region is actually more bullish than bearish in my opinion. Again, I'll say that one more time. More sideways in this region without breaking below 8,300 is fine. I would look for something like that to happen if the bulls are going to essentially take back over. Let's go over and check out the 12-hour. 12-hour Stokes still headed upwards and onwards, looking okay. 12-hour looks about fine here. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. We did confirm a 10-hour golden cross yesterday. Pretty big deal. As let's actually take off everything besides this guy right here. Okay, boom, 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 boom. All right, great. And we do see that the 10-hour golden cross has some pretty good history for Bitcoin. It's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, of course. But when we're talking about looking for an edge, this one's good enough for me. We did see that when we got the golden cross coming out of the last bear market, essentially in March of 2019, almost a full year ago. It led us all the way up from about 3,800 all the way to 14,000. We got a couple death crosses during 2018. The big one right here, leading us all the way down. Did get a little bit of a starter step right here, to be fair, and same thing right here. But at the end of the day, this was all just following lower highs. So could that be what we're doing over here? Yeah, possible. It is very much possible. But the more and more divergence that these two moving averages get away from each other, the stronger and stronger that this does imply that this next move will be. Now, I am curious how our 10-hour Stokes are looking like, because they've actually been really good at getting price action. They're getting up there as well. So, 10, 12-hour, both getting up there. And the 10-hour is actually confirming some bearish divergence here too. Is a little bit of an issue. I don't think that the bulls are out of the woods just yet, like a lot of people are saying. I do think that this is time for a pullback, and then we get to analyze the pullback and say, hey, as long as we don't crack like one of these macro areas, fine. But until that happens, everyone's got to hold their breath, or at least the reasonable people who don't just fucking hodl no matter what, are going to do what the fuck they want. Of course, I'm just having a laugh here, just having a joke. But yeah. 10-hour bearish divergence is confirmed actually, and I am curious where the 21 is coming in on this baby, because the 21, with each and every passing closure, it will be popping up more and more. And at the current moment in time, it's at 8,200. I'd really like to see it get above 8,300, and then this would look okay. We can pull back there, reaccumulate, be fine. So yeah. Anyways, as it stands right now, Bitcoin is still making lower highs on the macro, to be fair. Even on a time frame like this, or sorry, technically it's not, but as far as the macro goes, our higher time frames, 2-day, 3-day, weekly, yes, we are still doing that. Obviously lower time frames than that are in an uptrend. Daily has been an uptrend ever since we got this secondary pop right here. In our last local low is again about 8,200, about 8,100. So yeah, another point of reference to be concerned with. Now, I also do want to put the spotlight on this baby, on this beautiful cross right here between the yellow 21 and the green 55. If you're in the TA program, you know why that's relevant. You know how to trade that. You know why that's a big deal. And as it is right now, as long as Bitcoin maintains, especially above that 8,300ish number, they will get more and more divergence away from each other. And this is still looking fun on a daily, actually. Daily RSI, no bearish divergence. We have a change of behavior here. We're once again in the bullish control zone after being kicked out of it since June of 2019, which was over here. So basically Bitcoin, maintained it all the way through this run in March to June essentially. And then once we flipped around the trend there, well, RSI on the daily was a determining factor of that, and then the bullish control zone became major resistance. You can see rejection, all of these coming in on major highs right here before the breakdown, and right here more recently, and then we actually got rejected from it on the 200 exponential moving average test right here, but reaccumulated, and that's what really made us bullish in this region right here. So this also, more on the side of the bulls, of course. And I would say that as long as we're in the bullish control zone, this looks fine. This looks very constructive, actually. I really do like that read. Daily Stokes are charging upwards and onwards. They're going to get tired up there. But I wouldn't really trust my momentum oscillators during strong trending moves, of which it looks like we're in the midst of one. We also do see historical volatility percentile expanding here. And if we actually can pop above this last little spike, this is going to really look like it's really going to start to confirm that we have a lot more expansion to go. And in this case, it'd be to the upside. You see volume is going in the same way as well. Volume and volatility, not to be confused with each other, by the way. Apparently, a lot of people think it's the same thing. But I really like this read on volume, where you see increasing volume to the upside as we put a nice little ascending triangle right here, and then boom, up. Not only that, but what else do I want to focus on? People were looking at this as a buy signal on the jewel. This was too aggressive of a read for me. I look at this as a hollow your long signal right here. But again, even just hindsight trading this one and not even taking the best entry, because I could easily say, hey, you should have taken it at 7th or 6,900. Even if we took it a few days later, still fine. And just want to show the validity of these things over time. It takes a little bit of patience, but when you get a nice signal, there you go. Okay, cool. What else do I want to say? I feel like I completely just forgot something right there. Oh yes, this cross between the 21 and the 55. We can go back through the history of Bitcoin and kind of look at the validity of it, and you do see that in a bear market, it's not perfect. We do get our bull traps on those regions, of course, where we do get the bullish cross of it, but more or less, whenever we do get enough divergence away from each other on that, when they both have positive slopes the whole way through, and both very aggressive positive slopes like 45-degree angle or more, though that's leading up in our bull market rally essentially. So you only really see that during shit like this, and during shit like this right here, and then of course during 2018, you never really saw the 55 get a strong slope there to the upside. It actually mostly just flattened. So here we are seeing it start to slowly get it, but we really need to see another few days, or sorry, maybe even like another week or so of price action for that to really confirm itself. But for right now, okay. Right now, okay. Let's go check out the 2-day. What's 2-day looking like? 2-day chart, I really like actually. Again, negated the the impending death cross right here. That was another big key in making us bullish. We do still see that 2-day Stokes still headed north. Getting a little bit scary up there, but okay. Everything, pretty much all time frames are up there. You get another decent, hodl your long signal on the 2-day jewel right there, and 2-day RSI is having a change of behavior as well. You can see that we haven't really been able to even maintain above, even in the upper echelons of the neutral zone here since, of course, June, and we've actually made our way into the bullish control zone for the first time, in like half year, or a little bit more than half a year. So it is actually quite likely that we do get rejected from here on the in the first pass. I would be looking for it to come back down somewhere around here and kind of meet this last high somewhere around the exponential as well, which should naturally kind of coincide with each other relatively soon. And then I look for things to get picked up around there. So that actually does align with a little bit of a pullback from this region as well. Or around this region, we could get another try up to about 9,100, get reject from there, and then still close below like 8,800. That actually looked pretty good as well. So things, things more or less lining up with each other. 3-day is very, very interesting to me. 3-day is what makes me more in line with thinking that the macro does flip around to bullish here. 3-day RSI is very, very healthy. I really, really like this one. Now, it doesn't mean that we can't have a pullback here. I actually do think that we get a pullback, in line with, the medium time frames. But as far as looking at it on the whole, we are seeing changes behaviors, getting above the same areas that we haven't seen in a long time. 3-day Stokes still headed upwards and onwards. Again, getting the same area, the bullish control zone, the first time since, again, June, July of 2019. So this is significant. We also are going to see potentially, as long as Bitcoin maintains above about 8,300, we will see the bullish cross between the 21 and the 55. And while it's a big deal on the daily, it is 3 times as big of a deal on a 3-day. You do see that the bearish cross led us literally all the way through 2018 to the to the turnaround here in 2019. Blindly trading this would have been phenomenal, and going all the way back before that. I mean, blindly trading this one the whole way through has actually been almost perfect for the big massive moves in Bitcoin's history, except for this guy right here. You can't expect things to be perfect, but it does offer up a nice edge. So the longer that we maintain above there, the more and more just inevitable that cross will happen, and I'll be looking for another move up. And that's really when I start to look for us to, or not us, but Bitcoin to move and test around its last prior high on the weekly. And that's of course where things really start to change around on the on the macro. So 9,500 is still that critical point. And as of right now, it actually looks like we probably do test that at some point, somewhere between about 91 and 9,400-ish region. A little bit later. So yeah. Anyways, let's go check out some of the top altcoins having some pretty massive rallies, just because today seems to be the day that would actually be quite helpful. Well, I'm curious if they're looking for pullbacks as well. So putting back on major moving averages here. This is actually 4-hour Litecoin. 4-hour Litecoin does not have the same bearish divergence that Bitcoin does, funnily enough. Litecoin probably rallies back up here. This is a really powerful move from Litecoin, actually. Litecoin is getting rejected by the 200 exponential moving average as it stands right now, but Litecoin has, I believe, taken out the long-term downtrend, coming in all the way from past prior highs at what was it, like 150 or 160? Or sorry, no, this is Mr. Beaterall. Sorry about that. At 330. What was this about? Yeah, about 6 months ago as well, in June. So getting rejected in this region is not is to be expected. It's not a death sentence. I would say as long as it maintains above the 89 exponential moving average right here at about 153.5, fine, and it can trade down there, and I'd probably be looking for a bounce in that region as well. So yeah, change of behavior here. We are taking out the long-term downtrend. Going over to Mrs. Litecoin, same thing. Taking out the long-term downtrend, I believe from about 140 it is actually. This one actually happened the first before just about all of the other majors, I believe. Maybe BSV was there as well. Actually, in fact, BSV has the best chart and has had the best chart for a while. Funnily enough, for all the hate that it gets, and again, I'm not a BSV supporter or BSV fan. I hodl no BSV and probably will never. But the best thing about BSV is people are telling you that it's gonna overtake Bitcoin to become like the one cryptocurrency to rule them all, but no one's listening to the fucking name, man. Hey, if you want your shitcoin, I mean your cryptocurrency, your highly intelligent cryptocurrency, to become everywhere in the fucking world, maybe name it something that doesn't suck. Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, Bitcoin Satoshi's vagina, Bitcoin suck vagina, Bitcoin shit fuck. Doesn't even make sense, man. But goddamn, you can just imagine all of the nonsensical garbage that's going to go on. Just for, like, what the fuck? If you're going to take over the world, you got to have a catchy name. You can't just name your thing like Blues Clues Coin or some shit like that, man. It's or Tudor's Diary, which we can look at later. It's a great one. A lot of FUD going on there, man. They're suppressing it. Anyways, so looking at Mrs. Litecoin right here, I do think that this thing does pull back a little bit more. And the magical number for Mrs. Litecoin is about $53, I'd say. Let's see, what does a 12-hour look like? Yeah, 12 hours getting rejected by the 377, but this is not super problematic. It is expected to get pullbacks in this region. The funny thing is that we're not even getting bearish divergence on a 12-hour. What about a 6-hour? 6-hour does have it present. So that is weird. We don't really see it on a 4-hour, but we do see it on a 6-hour, not on a 10 or 12-hour. So I think that's actually just the odd man out. Although I do think that it probably comes back down to like $53.5, $54, and probably does bounce there, or at least as long as it bounces there, overall fine, I'd say. Let's see. I do want to check out Bcash and BSV, and I think that after this day we can officially say that BSV is a real Bcash, actually. Bitcoin Cash doesn't sound as bad now that we have fucking Bitcoin Satoshi's vision cash coin chain, whatever the fuck. Where is it, baby? Where is it? I'm gonna get so many mad people in the comments saying, hey man, hey, stop making fun of BSV. People are really tribalistic around that one. I mean, people are tribalistic about all these fucking ones, but that one especially, from what I've noticed. Hey man, I make fun of them all. It's all good. They're all They're all quite silly in my opinion. Even Bitcoin is a little bit silly as well. We're talking about an asset that trades for almost $9,000 that it literally is used for very little in this world. As of right now, I do believe in it long term though, but let's be realistic about this right now. You can't really go to the store and just use your Bitcoins. I know that there's credit cards that will kind of allow you to in like a backwards way, but there's not an easy way to do it, is what I'm saying. Anyways, looking at Bcash right here, pretty damn good. It pretty much hit our target of about 382, 383. Close enough is close enough. I would say that this one kind of lining up for a pullback as well. Let's look at BSV. BSV actually, all jokes aside, BSV does have the best chart in cryptocurrency land, making new all-time highs. That's pretty impressive, regardless of your thoughts on it. Probably does pull back a little bit more here, but I would say that this one's, more or less fine as long as we're above 230. If it does lose 230, then this is going to bleed all the way back down to below 8, back down to double digits, which I wouldn't be so surprised if that did happen, but hey man, have to call a spade and give credit where credit is due, and this one deserves it, to be fair. Anyways, okay, how long have we been on here? About 30 minutes. I've been speaking all sorts of garbages. Let's go check out the expected moves chart and see what sort of probabilities we can come up for today. Now remember, with that in mind, just from trade up TA, I'm looking at 8,300ish region to be the big bad point to the downside on a daily total closure, and to the upside, this one's a little bit more difficult. Because I do think that we will very obviously get continuation here with any sort of a 12-hour close above 8,800. Certainly, I shouldn't say certainly, but extremely likely. But even a 4-hour close above like 8,820, 8,830 is probably good enough as well. So let's go check it out right on over here and see what it's suggesting. So today it's actually today it is showing that we do have a little bit of downwards pressure here. The top side of the first deviation is coming in right around 8,900, the high of the current high that we do have. So moving above our current high is less than a 60% chance to happen today. But remember, that's actually not the magical number in my opinion. The magical number for me would be a little bit above 8,800 on a daily total close. We likely get continuation to the upside and strike somewhere around the daily 200, which is about 9,100-ish region. By the same token, to the downside, very actually quite good here. So we see the first deviation to the downside is coming in right around 8,400. So that's well above that critical number of about 8,300-ish region on a daily total closure. So I would say that Bitcoin is more or less, more or less likely to trade a little bit of sideways here, probably a little bit of down. But mostly sideways, and then I'd look for another try to the upside actually, and it's literally less than a 60% chance to even close below 8,400 today, and that would mean that our critical number of 8,300 is somewhere between the second standard deviation and the first standard deviation, which would be actually like literally right between them. So that's the difference between 16% and 2.5%. So what's the midpoint of that? About 9%. So less than 9% chance for that to happen today. I would put the odds in the favor of the upside actually. So pretty damn cool. And once again, this tool coming very much in handy here. Anyways, going back on over to Bitcoin, yes, if Bitcoin does get that next leg up, I'd essentially be looking anywhere around about 9,100. In fact, I should put, or do I have it already marked in here? Yes, I do. Yeah, we have it marked in here right between about 9,100 to 9,200. So $100 range in that, in that vicinity. I would be looking for the next local high to be put in if Bitcoin does get picked up there. Hey, Bitcoin's getting that move up to about 8,700. Let's see how this holds through. I did say that 87.10 or 87.20, 87.30 kind of likely here. And I believe that we're seeing that right now. Here's the thing though. I do have a little bit of an issue. Actually, are we potentially setting a higher low right here? We are setting a higher low, but the problem with this is that it doesn't really help. It's just an hourly. 4 hours not going to really tell us too much here. Yeah, still, I need to see a 4-hour total close above about 88.40. We'll call it to be a little, or let's call it 88.50 just to be a little more conservative. If Bitcoin does get that, then yes, I probably would look for that next move up to about 91, 9,200. Preferably, I'd like to see a 12-hour above there, and then yes, I'd feel comfortable with calling that. But for right now, it looks to me like we're coming back up and retesting resistance, and we'll see how it populates from there. Okay, all right. What else do we want to look at? I think that's about it for that. I do want to talk about the Bitcoin VWAP ratio. We've been following this quite a bit. It is starting to get very interesting here because we actually might see the purple cross above the pink. I won't go into the deep dive of what this means today because it's all in the long-term analysis playlist, which is on YouTube here, and definitely go check that out. I upload one every Sunday, but basically that would be a humongous deal for me. The blue getting above that region obviously is a good thing for the bulls, but it doesn't get the job done. It's It's not enough. We really need to see that purple get above the pink, and then all above where my cursor currently is right now on this little regression that you can run through here. That would be enough for me to say, hey, we're macro bullish again. Very, 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 very likely if that were to happen. So still a little bit further away from that, but it actually is getting ever so close right here. It's if we could zoom on in, which I believe we can. Yeah, we can. It's getting really, really close. The pink's even above the regression right now too. But the purple's working its way up there, so not bad. Anyways, let's go check out traditional markets. How traditional markets doing? Oh, another new all-time high. Fucking crazy. We setting up for a pullback here though is a real question. And yeah, I wouldn't mind a pullback here. Again, I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I just have a strong opinion on if we break, I mean, realistically, if we break 320 and a half, yes, I would be looking for this to come down much further down to about 315. But realistically, man, I don't think that you're really getting anything much more than, 325 region. And we've just been walking this up with each and every passing day, in fact, because this is melting up. Weekly still looks fine. All higher time frames still massively bullish. Weekly RSI is very, very constructive here. Very, very good over a long period of time. Weekly Stokes is exactly what you'd expect during a strong trending move, although we probably do come down and meet this trend line sometime later this month perhaps, but that would be likely another opportunity to to get in. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Monthly is still massively bullish, and any sort of a close above 325 is going to be met with another month of more higher highs, I'd imagine. Monthly RSI, again, massively constructive. We have a nice descending broadening wedge being resolved to the upside, and I'd probably look for this to work its way up into the more critical zone actually over time, but that's monthly, so it takes time. Even the monthly jewel signal, I mean, it looked like it was going to line up for one maybe, but the light blue just shot right through. So again, powerful price action, and good shit, man. Good shit. And as we've been shown for the last few days, that these markets are heavily correlated with Bitcoin, or actually, I should say, Bitcoin is heavily correlated with SPY, the traditional market's major bourse. So I would say that a healthy SPY does align with a healthy Bitcoin. And on the macro, another point towards the and I won't do like the full deep dive into this with looking at all the correlation coefficients and the R squared and whatnot. Again, it's on the long-term analysis playlist. But just looking at this in a straight up comparison, you can see that on the whole, and we're looking at SPY in the blue line chart here, and the orange line chart representing Bitcoin on log scale. On monthlies, we do see that on the whole, on the macro, they do typically follow each other. Bitcoin, more often than not, will top out first. They typically bottom around the same time, and then always SPY has made new all-time highs before Bitcoin makes new all-time highs, typically by a factor of 3 months to a year. So we have this example right here. SPY's making new highs. Bitcoin makes new highs about a year later in January. Bitcoin tops right here. This one's a little bit more of a shorter one, but SPY obviously making new highs well before then. Then a big top out right here, big top out right here. So Bitcoin much more before on this one, and then SPY moves to new all-time highs right here. Bitcoin gets new all-time highs like a year later in April 2017. They both top out right here, end of 2017, beginning of 2018, and they both bottom about the same time. SPY's been making new highs for the last like 3-4 months, and we see Bitcoin, perhaps following a few months later. So this is kind of within the general trajectory of things, and I do think that is quite significant if you are looking at this from a long-term perspective. Again, looking at straight up cycles. So I do like that. Anyways, let's go back to a regular chart. Put back on all these babies right here. And I would say that, that's more or less bullish for Bitcoin. Let's go look at the other, let's go look at some Forex. Let's go look at dollar yen looking pretty good here. I do think that we're going to be working our way long-term back up to this region, back up to 111.5. Those critical closes that we were looking for I think this was end of last week or beginning of this week, and I basically think that it's going to work its way longer term into this region right here, 111 to 111.5. But that can still take like a month or two, and I would be looking for a local high to be put in right around 110.5. Pound yen, not as bullish as actually dollar versus yen. In fact, and I'd actually be still bearish on this as long as we're below 144.1. I'd actually be bearish on this and looking for this to long-term come down to about 138.5. However, if it does even get a daily total, even if it just trades above 144.35, I would be looking for this to work its way to the prior high at 146 region and probably beyond, because it's going to look like a legitimate reversal. But for right now, too early to call it. And still kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. Gold. What do we have? Gold. Gold did not bounce at the exact area I was looking for, but it is looking like it's getting picked up right here. I don't really have a huge problem with it right now. I know a lot of people want to be bearish on this asset at this point in time, but I'm actually not as bearish as the rest of the people here. I do think that this area right here is your major massive critical mass. In fact, I'm going to get rid of this guy right here because it's not as important. What's more important is this area right here for the macro. If this area does break, then yeah, this thing's probably going to, you know, bleed all the way back down, you know, longer term back down, you know, below 1500 probably. But for right now, I actually do think that this is going to give another try, at the very least back up to like high 1500s, like 1575, 1580-ish region, and then we'll reassess from there. What else do we have? Euro dollar. Euro dollar still kind of in limbo here. I don't really have a strong opinion on this. In fact, I'd like to be very open and honest with this. I mean, that implies that I'm not always open and honest. Jesus fucking Christ, Krown, get your goddamn words straight. My point is that I don't feel like I have a good read on this one right now. If I had to say something, I would say any sort of a weekly close below 111, and yeah, I would probably look for an eventual collapse down to 110 again. But as long as we maintain that 111 region on the 21, it doesn't look like the picture bullish right here, but the monthly is technically okay. I should actually not say anything about this one. I don't have a strong opinion. I don't think that I have a good opinion on that one. Anyways, back on a Bitcoin. Start to wrap this bitch up. We're already 40 minutes into this crazy analysis. In fact, let's actually look at the monthly for a second here. If the monthly closes above the 10 simple, this is going to look pretty good as well. And we still have another 2 weeks left in this month. We're actually at the midpoint of January, so it's still well and far away. But hey, looking all right here. And that's around 8,500. So keep that one in the back of your mind. It's not closing anytime soon, like I said, but if we do close above there, that's going to also look pretty damn good. Anyways, going back down to the lower term time frames. Bitcoin moving back up. I do think, to kind of wrap up this talk, I do believe that Bitcoin, you know, is hitting that 8750-ish target that we spoke about at the beginning of this video. I think that it probably does back off from this area short term, and I'd probably be looking for another retest somewhere. I'm not so married to this because this is a pretty powerful move right here, to be fair. This is a pretty powerful move thus far. But if it does fall back down, which I do think is still kind of likely, somewhere in this blue box territory is where I'd be looking for a bounce, and I do think that bulls are going to bounce it. I actually do think that more or less things are looking a lot better on the higher time frames. But for right now, let's see if we get a 4-hour total closing, especially above about 88.50. I would very likely look for extension into this next blue box here, between 91 and 9,200. You know, 4 hours, a little bit of a lower time frame to get something like this. Realistically, I'd want to see it on a 12-hour, but 12-hour delta closing above 88.50, that would be very, 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 very likely to work its way back up here. For now, though, I think it's a little bit of a waiting game. All the easy trades were kind of been had, and unless we kind of break this range right here, right now, you know, on this next 12-hour delta closing, don't really have a strong opinion on it. So, or at least I'd rather just wait for the next obvious trade. So that's what I'm looking at right now. And of course, any sort of a break below about 8,300 on one of those medium time frame closes, and look for you know, overall a slow bleed back down, probably below 8,000. But I think that's actually less likely to happen here as we looked at the probabilities. So with that said, I'd like to wish you the best and the happiest. Again, no Twitch stream later today, but I will be back on tomorrow most likely, and gonna go prepare. So yeah, man, wishing you the best. Take care, and until next time.